Are you ready to roll?
I've got all the talking points.
You brought talking points this week. I knew I
Well,
forgot
the
to do
ideas,
something. Yeah, I knew I forgot to
I
do
gave you.
something.
Oh.
We'll figure it out as we go, Jay. That's how we do it. We're professionals, right?
Yes, we are.
You got your dolly to show off in the figure
Oh,
spotlight
fuck.
there?
No, I don't.
Well, you better get that because our podcast that people listen to, they'll never be able to see your important dolly. This is why you need to check it out on YouTube.
You've been getting some. I can just be lazy and just show her, I guess.
Oh, really? Something you already showed on Facebook? Oh, it's
okay,
so
all right.
dirty. Oh,
I wanted to. Oh my god, I'm not having this conversation with you. Fuck your black dolls. Oh god.
Welcome to the Jay and Rob Toy Show, another fun-filled episode coming your way. My name is Rob McZaw, better known and more appropriately known as Rob McCallum. And once again, I am joined by mon frere extraordinaire, the man who doesn't even need to say hi, Jay Bartlett. Jay, we're just jumping right into it. So did you want to say hi this week? Okay, so anyways, we're moving right along. Go ahead, say your funny bits. Start the show off with your energy. Let's get going.
Hi, everybody. I'm really honored that I actually get to say hello for once because you usually don't let me. So
every 3 episodes, you'll be allowed to address the audience.
Fair enough. I'm excited, man. I don't know what you have in store, but I got a lot of stuff. But go ahead.
Well, we're going to start off with our icebreaker, which is just another way of saying we've got another topic to start with, but we call it an icebreaker, so it sounds more important than it really is. Let's talk COVID. There's been in the news the last couple weeks 2 very promising vaccines. I've been completely shuttered, locked in my basement, dealing the best that I can, still very much in the world of toys and toy collecting and playing. I know you've gone and made 1 or 2 trips more locally than anything else, of course. I gotta ask you, what is the biggest toy thing that you want to do once you get vaccinated and the world is kind of, able to resume? What is the biggest toy thing that you want to do?
I just want to get out there on the road again. Let's do season 2. That's what I'm hoping for.
Well, we're not asking too much, are we?
There's nothing like being out there with you and whoever else that we're with, just looking at the stuff we love and not feeling scared. I ventured way out of my comfort zone about a month ago. I went to Hamilton for the Inhumanoids figures.
Now available for review on Jay Bartlett's Exorcist website.
Yeah, the first one of 3 is up. But it was so weird, dude, like going in that store and it was Cool Stuff Toys and it's an awesome store in Hamilton, but I didn't want to really touch anything, and being in another city, it was really weird. It reminded me of Walking Dead, driving down the highway and seeing those signs that's like stay 6 feet back, and it was weird because I hadn't been outside of London since this all started, and it felt wrong. I'm like, I probably shouldn't be here, but it's Inhumanoids and I had like 30 masks on. So
the big question I gotta ask, what is the budget that you're gonna set aside for when you're ready to be unleashed in the world again of toys and you go on your big first toy venture?
Oh, that's tough to say. You and I haven't really done without. I mean, as much as I want to support local, I try and support Heroes as much as I can. I try and get down there a couple times a month. But I mean, we've been buying stuff on eBay and Big Bad Toy Store. So it's not like I've done without anything. And I don't have anything like really in the back of my mind that I'm super like hungry for to get. How about you? Well, I know there's one thing you want. We were talking about that the other day on the phone.
Yeah, I mean, I've been itching for the blank now big time, and I've got a couple options I'm looking at. And I listened to our friends in Australia, the Toy Power podcast, and they talked about a lot that Trent had seen in the early 2000s. It was $30 for like all the Dick Tracy figures, and the blank was in there. And he was at the moral conundrum. Do I take a chance and spend the $30 and hope that it's him or her, I guess, because it was a blurry picture? Or do I reach out and get confirmation? So he reached out and got confirmation, and then he bought it anyways, but the package never came.
Oh, you got scammed. No
Yeah,
way.
and he thought, okay, well, it takes a while for stuff to get to Australia because it's a couple months usually from a standard eBay shipping. But then 3 months went by, 4 months went by, and like he said, it's not really about the cash; it's more about the opportunity. So yeah, I mean, I've been itching to get the blank, but I mean, I've never really had a budget when it comes to this kind of stuff. Either I can afford it or I can rationalize to pull the trigger on something that I want, or I don't. And sometimes I get stuff because, you're on the journey and you want to have a memento from it. And those things usually mean more than, anything you order online, anything,
Oh
especially
yeah.
current stuff that you pre-order. Great, I got it, click. I don't have to worry about trying to find it because it's a cool figure and it just arrives at your doorstep. But, getting something in a store that you're at that's tied to something else. I mean, not everybody does action figure adventure like we do, but when you go out and you have a story because you're with your buddies or something like that, and you found it on the road, that's always fun. So even like getting stuff for my son is always fun. That was one thing I was doing a lot when we were filming. Like, yeah, there was things I wanted, but what could I get him? And now when I look at his collection, I'm like, hey, I got that there, I got that there, I got that there. And it's cool to look back. He doesn't care because he doesn't know, but he loves playing with it. So that's also
Right.
fun.
Yeah, a lot of the times, the most fun items that we come across are the ones that we didn't know we were looking for, which was the case all throughout Action Figure Adventure. When we went into whatever store, and it's like, oh my god, look at that! Remember that? Um, so I almost like that more than kind of having a list. You know what I mean? Like, there's those items that we always want in the back of our
It's the
head, sure,
sense
but I
of
like,
discovery, right? There's no
yeah, I
sense of
like,
discovery online. You don't just randomly find something online. Like you might if you're just searching through page after page on eBay, but you're usually typing in the thing you want.
yeah, the best you can do is like a parts lot or something like that, like a lot of Star Wars or He-Man or whatever you're looking for, and you might find something in the picture, but that's pretty tough now with the internet. Everybody knows what they have. It's you don't hear the sealed flag in grandma's attic stories very much anymore, right? Because people know exactly what things are worth, and it's so easy to look up prices now.
You get it maybe like once or twice a year. Somebody found something that they forgot they had, or comes across something in a garage sale. But yeah, it's not like it used to be, or at least it seems that it used to be that way, where turn of the century, like 2000 to 2005, it was like, look at all the stuff that's there, and oh wow, I got it for an unbelievable score, and they just didn't know the value of it. It seems like another era. But this kind of really brings us to our first topic, and that's, what kind of a collector are you? And you and I talk about discussion points leading up to every show, what things we want to discuss. So this is going to bundle a bunch of different things in there. um, First off, are you loose or are you an in-package collector? And how do
Am
you
I loose?
decide? Are you
Easy, pal.
well, hey.
Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa,
While
whoa.
this is not a family-friendly show, Mister,
You said it.
you keep your
You,
tightness
you,
features
you
alone.
said it. You said it.
I said it.
Oh,
I
geez.
said it, Bill.
So a good buddy of mine made a really cool series called Video Game Box Art. You might have heard of it.
I heard
And
it's not that great.
yeah, it's don't tell him though. Don't tell him I said that.
Coming to a screen near you.
That really puts in perspective the importance of the packaging, especially when you get older and you appreciate that it's a true art form. So that being said, I know you ride me about the Masters Universe Classics, some of the ones that I don't have opened, but honestly, it really depends. For something, my favorite line of all time to collect is Star Wars, the vintage line. With those, it's 100% in the package because the card art to me is more impressive than the figure.
So this is where I have to take issue, because for me, there is like almost no art on the classics package.
I know it's weird, man. I'm telling you. I think it's because, like we talked about a couple episodes ago, I'm really late to the classics game. That being said, Shira, Adora, and Swiftwind that I got there were pushing 1K for those three. So yeah, to open those now, it just seems like I just can't do
Yeah,
it.
but
It would be like
I will never forget, because you got to play with classics figures in hand before I did, because both times, I guess, that I've collected classics, I never had one open. I never opened one. I never touched one, not even in passing, not into other people's collections that we had gone by, not at a show or anything like that. And
Yeah.
I'll never forget, you came to me because you got your first classic, I think it was Hordak or something, and you're like, oh man, it's so cool to hold, and just to put it down on the table, it's like bam, it just sits there, it's rock solid.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
pose it any way you want without any issue. It is just so awesome to have such a developed 6-inch figure that just is, it has like a mass, a presence to it, and you were just blown away and in awe. And from that point
Yeah.
on, I'm like, you know what, I'm opening all this shit. So the stuff that I had, and I bought some loose, I'm like, oh, these are wicked to hold in hand, and I enjoy them so much more now that I've opened them.
So for me, for now, like stuff like the Thundercats Ultimates, I opened all of them, right? And that packaging I think is a lot better than classics. It's along the same style. But those are all opened. I don't know. Maybe I'll get to it. I don't know. Like I have Sorceress too, and I know she's like $600. So, and the funny thing, Rob, about all that is it's not going anywhere. I would never sell this stuff. If I was going to sell any of my collection, I would buy more toys with it or
Yeah.
video games or whatever, right? So it's like this stuff's not going anywhere. It's just there's something about that. And I guess to answer the question now, I'm more of a loose collector.
Hey,
Stuff's
hey,
cool
hey
in the
now.
box.
Hey. I don't want to hear
I'm
what
a little more loose. I'm a little loose. Stuff's really cool in the box, but honestly, like the Black Series stuff and like I said, the Thundercats, when you open them and you actually get to touch them and pose them, it's crazy. It's such a better feeling than have something in a box that you can't touch.
what about vehicles?
Vehicles.
So
Um,
like a Cobra Hiss or something, or you know, the Night Raven, or the
yeah.
Battle Ram, or the Thunder Tank.
I guess at this stage in my collecting life cycle, I don't need to get things in the box. I'm happy to have it. If it's something like the new GI Joe retro line, the Hiss tank and the Ostriker are out. I would probably keep the Hiss sealed because the box art is so great, and that vehicle is only about $30, so that's not too bad. But yeah, I like playing with stuff. We're humans; we need to touch things, right? That's
Yeah,
just the way it
I
is.
think the tactile sense that toys give us, especially since they're designed for play, even the adult toys or the toys that are, you know, marketed towards us adult collectors, there's still that playetic or toyetic vibe that, you know, they're meant to be moved up and down. They have hinges, they're posed. Otherwise, you would buy a statue or something that isn't supposed to be posed or manipulated or have a
Right.
sword in a hand or like a blaster or something. So they're designed with movement in mind, and to deny that experience feels like you're cheating yourself a little bit. Which kind of brings
Yeah,
to the big question. Unless you wanted to talk, like, do you have a thought about like the joy of playing with the tactile?
yeah. I mean, when I do my videos, I've been doing YouTube for about 8 months now, and one of my favorite parts when I'm shooting is I pose the figure in 3 or 4 different poses and just let it sit on there for 4 seconds. So you can look at it. That's my favorite part. So I took Din from The Mandalorian, and I'm just trying to think of all the episodes. I'm like, okay, remember when he walked through the bar and then he try and emulate that pose, right? I love that. There's something so special about that. It brings you closer to the character and the figure in a way that looking through it through a cardboard box is just not the same, man. It's not the
Yeah,
same.
I think it gives you. This is going to sound cheesy, but I think you develop a relationship with the figure, and there's an
Yeah.
experience and an underlying connection when you can actually sit there and touch it and play. You know it better. You know that,
Yeah.
you know, everybody knows like what a GI Joe is like to pull its waist out from its chest. You know that feeling. Same with Masters when those legs get, you know, twisted in the inside and you got to flip them back around. You know that
Yeah.
feeling, and you don't get something like that by just looking at the package. And I think that feeling, and that feeling when you hold like a Battle Armor He-Man and you feel the drum inside flip, you know, that you can't get that just by looking at it. And I think that's such an important part of toys and toy collecting. I mean, you don't have to open everything you get, but I think you're really missing a big sensory part of it, and the love that goes with collecting when you don't experience that.
So I mean, that's the rub, right? I mean, there's so many figure lines out there that have such great packaging, like the new Joe Classifieds. Actually, pretty much everything Hasbro's doing right now is pretty unified as far as packaging goes, and they have those beautiful murals on the back, and it looks so good, man. So it's like you don't want to destroy that, but at the same time, what do? Well, you buy two, right? The rule
This
of
is what I
two.
was going to get to, the rule of
Yeah.
two. So where are you with the rule of two? I remember growing up, and just to clarify, everybody, the rule is two is you buy two of everything so that you can open one and display another, or tuck the other one away for safekeeping. Uh, I remember growing up, you were always the rule of two guy. You always got
Yeah.
two of everything. I mean, Star Wars, Joe, everything. Has that changed? Or how has that evolved? Does it matter?
It's changed because, like many of us Star Wars collectors, we learned our lesson with Power of the Force 2, which I still think is a fantastic line, which is, the reboot in 1995 that is still going today for the most part. And I didn't buy two because I thought they were going to be worth money, because that's not ever going to be the case again. But it was more because I just love the way they look displayed. I have, since we've known each other, I've had action figures on my wall in every place I've ever lived, right? I just love the way it looks, just that huge image of just like 500 figures looking at you and their card art. I love that. But at the same time, I was big on, remember when Phantom Menace came out, I took Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul, and I glued them onto the top of my dashboard in my car, right? Because I just,
And boy, those hot summer days, whoa.
yeah, they started to lean, and I'm like, I don't think I thought this through.
No, or those warm winter days when you crank the heat, they would lean again.
Oh, not to mention the sun fading that happened to
Oh, that
pour
didn't happen.
all
Oh,
of them.
Darth Maul has a gray cloak, right?
Yeah, he's got a great
You have the
cloak.
special edition Meltor summer version of Darth Maul.
I remember pulling up to stoplights, many a stoplight. You look at the person beside you, just thinking I was so cool. And the person who would look back at me, no, they didn't think that at all.
Never communicated the same back to you.
There's a guy glued toys on his dashboard. Well, that took the car down about $500.
Well, it didn't necessarily increase it. And when you sold it, you couldn't get the figures off. Did you try
this year?
Did you take those figures off that car?
Yeah, and they had to be scrapped. They were so brittle because of the sun.
Right.
I remember Obi-Wan, his ankles came off. Like they broke off just because it was so brittle from being in the sun. I was just gonna say, this year I did a few of the rule of two. I got two of Darth Nihilus from Star Wars. I'm gonna do at the end of the year the best figures of the year that I've come in contact with, and he's a pretty close candidate to being number one. I love that figure so much. I bought two of them, so I did open one, and I have one sealed, which is weird because the Black Series allows you to take it out anyway. So really, I just bought another $30 piece of tape, if you really think about it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the ones that I've bought two of, because I could only really pick and choose. I never really got to do the rule of two too often. I'd always just keep it in the on card or in the box. But this year, I mean, I guess it was the year before when you consider pre-orders. It was the movie line of Masters figures. So Dark Despot Skeletor, so the black cloak, God Skeletor with the gold, and Horde Zombie He-Man was another one. And I still have some classics I haven't opened. I don't have two of them, but I don't have anywhere to display them right now. As you pointed out earlier, I'm still in Freddy's boiler room. I don't know if I'm going to drywall this place. I've got a setup over there. It is what it is. But as far as the rule of two, I mean, it's almost impossible. And this goes back to the topic of what kind of collector you are, to go back and be a vintage of two. I joked with you about the blank. I said, I'm gonna army build the blank, because why not, army build with a 3,000 run figure and try to get them all. There's an action figure adventure. Get all 3,000.
Well, you got that big Nintendo Quest money, right? So you can army build blank.
Yeah, I mean, at a whopping 4 cents a view, with 3 views a month, I get I get a good 12 cents I can take and get some gummy candies.
That's right.
Nintendo Quest, ladies and gentlemen, on Amazon Prime. Take a look at it. And box art, video game box art coming to a screen near you. Send me your nickels, please.
The other thing to take into consideration is stuff like Super 7. Again, this is Canadian dollars. You know, a
Ah,
Thundercat with shipping is $70-$80. Again, if your collection is focused and if you're just doing Thundercats, maybe the rule of two is fine. But for me, I can't buy two of each. And
yeah.
again, I just want to. I know I'm taking up a lot of the time with this, but
Nope.
it's a really good. This is a really good topic here. We were doing a shoot at one of the studios that we were shooting stuff action figure adventure, and remember we got to play for the first time with the He-Man movie, He-Man and Skeletor, and I saw pictures of the Dolph Lundgren figure online in the box. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. And you brought yours and you opened it, and as soon as I touched it, and I'm not
Yeah.
even lying, I'm like, this is my favorite He-Man figure of all time. I just absolutely love it. Like, you could take his blaster and put it in the holster, and there's something about experiencing that.
Yeah.
And his cape was so big and flowing. I'm like, yeah,
I've
this is
always loved him with the
way
cape.
better than the picture. Yeah,
I've always loved He-Man with that red cape. You know, a lot of people like to dog that film, but I think, you know, you and I have always been a big fan of it. And
yeah,
while the plot's a little hokey going to Earth, which is very much like, you know, the very first Thor film that came out 10 or so years ago at this point, where Thor's stuck on Earth and yada yada. But there's so many awesome elements still a part of that live action movie. I like the cape. Skeletor is amazing. The Cosmic Key
yeah.
is a really cool device. And it all translated so well to those classics figures when they all came out.
And a question for you, because you are the He-Man expert. Gwildor was created because they couldn't figure out a way to do Orko. Is that correct? Or was he just part of the story?
He's more part of the story. I mean, you know, I remember when we interviewed the director and we didn't put him in the documentary because he had some challenging legal allegations around him, and we wanted to make sure that we were on the right side of history, so we chose to remove him. But Gary Goddard did say that it's not that, you know, Gwildor is replacing Orko, for example, as a small character. It's just that we couldn't afford to do Orko or Battle Cat, but they're still in the universe. They're just not part of this story.
Right. Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's the easiest way to kind of answer it.
I guess to tie up that whole rule of two segment, my point to
Oh,
the
we're
whole
not we're not
He-Man.
we're not done. We're not done.
Okay, cool.
We
My
got
my
more.
point to the movie He-Man figure was, I was really intrigued by it when I saw the pictures of it online, but until I actually got the figure in my hand, I was like, yeah, I think the next day I ordered him and Skeletor. Remember, I was like, yeah, I got to have this.
Yeah, and that
They're just amazing.
that Rebel Leader He-Man, as it's called in the line, is one that I'm on the fence about ordering another one, because they do still have a few in stock at Big Bad Toy Store. So I'm contemplating getting another one. That way, I have, you know, both Skeletor and He-Man from the movie, you know, in package, so to speak.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I would. I don't
I
have.
know
What's the
you
other one?
would. I know you
What's the other
would.
one? Karg is
Yeah,
the other one,
it was
right?
a repaint of Karg though. So they had released
Okay, right.
Karg already, but it was a repaint, a more movie accurate
Okay.
Karg, you know, and they'd already released Blade and Sorod, of course.
Blade was my first classics. Remember, you made fun of me.
No, I didn't make fun of you. I mocked you incessantly because, like, oh, this is awesome. I'm like, yeah. And then, like, every
I
time
know
you
it's
looked at it, you're like, oh, what did I do?
well, it's Blade, and this goes back to expendable income we didn't have when we were kids that we now have as adults. And I
Yeah.
remember Blade was released later in the line,
Yeah.
almost near the end, I think,
Yeah.
and never got Blade, never saw Blade.
He's a cool character too. He really is.
And so I'm like, you know, as a big boy now, I see the new articulated Blade who looks just like he came off the screen. I'm like, I'm gonna buy that thing. Like,
But
I
that's your
just grabbed
first
him. I'm like,
that was your first classic that you bought.
that's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And you were like, I remember we were looking at the case and at a treehouse there. And you're like, really? I mean, there's like Skeletor and Zodak, and you want Blade? I'm like, yeah, man. Of course, you know me and those B-side characters, right? I have a soft spot for that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, you do. Yeah, you certainly do. But this you just mentioned income, right? So what are our collecting limits? I mean, obviously budget is always going to play a factor when it comes to collecting, but the other thing is space.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
You know,
That
like, how valuable is space? Because even as I'm unpacking my stuff a little bit, and I'm in a bigger place than I was before, albeit unfinished for now, like, I'm running out of space of where to put what. So now I'm having to prioritize what I do want on display And, do I, the stuff that I have two of, where does it go? So what kind of a collector are you? Is it quality? Is it quantity? Like the value of space, like you don't have an infinite house to store all this stuff anyways. We've been talking about your room a lot offline. How your room is getting packed, and when you buy two of everything, that's only gonna shrink twice as much.
I love how you call it the room. Now we're big boys, so I turned my old bedroom into the studio. Now we should call it the studio.
I'm sorry, the studio bedroom.
The secret's out in my house, where I shoot everything. Yes, is my old childhood bedroom. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, I'm still not going to talk about the big toy. That's going to be a reveal later. But I wanted that in here so bad, and it took up a lot of room. But yeah, we got a collector buddy again, Peter, awesome dude.
Yeah,
and his basement is jam packed from floor to ceiling with just boxes, and it doesn't look bad. It looks really cool, but yeah, like I feel for that guy. Like, where do you put all this stuff? To the point where you have like Jabba's barge and stuff like that. It's like I can't open it because there's no space. It's like, oh my god, like that.
And to put this in perspective
man.
for people, he was a Rula 2 collector. He bought two of everything for classics. So there's 350 plus figures for classics, and he bought a second one. And when they included two heads in it, he would buy a third one so that he could display two open with both alternate heads.
That's impressive.
And at first, when you get into it early, you can see why it's so easy to do it, because, like we talked about before, it's $25, a figure. You can spend, $100 and you're fine. You're solid between both figures and shipping. So it's not that big of a deal. Now at $50 a pop, it's a little bit harder. You brought up Super 7, and there is one figure that I've ordered from them. And I thought when they announced this line, I was going to be, a Rula 2 for this line for sure. I thought, no, this is one I'm going to rule a 2 on. And I thought, oh my God, I love this so much. I can't believe it. I never saw this coming. And this is the one I can commit to going to rule a 2. Do you know what I'm talking about?
It's not Raph, is it?
No. Not the TMNT Ultimates.
Super 7. No. I'm drawing a blank.
This is an odd one, and you'll make fun of me because it'll be like, oh, of course you want this. Silly.
Oh, it's Muppets something, isn't it?
No, close. Disney.
No, okay.
The Disney Ultimate figures. So wave one is Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey from Fantasia, Pinocchio, who comes with Figaro, and Cleo the fish, and then Prince John, who comes with Hiss from Robin Hood. And I thought, oh my God, because of course, I try to go, to Disney once every couple of years with the family. Like so many of us, we grew up on those animated movies, but to see that they're going to do like actually articulated action figures with the accessories from these iconic movies that, essentially were my childhood, it's just like, wow, I can't wait. And then I was like, that's a lot of money. I pre-ordered the first wave, and I was like, oh man, this is expensive. Like,
how much are those each?
Same as the Turtles, $45 a pop. So 3 of them is 135 US plus shipping. And I'm like, you know what? I'm only going to get 2 of the one I really like best in the wave. So in this case, I got 2 of Prince John so that I can absolutely open it and have like the one figures that I want.
Because you have such a love for classic Disney animation, do you think a lot of that, you wanting to have one in the package, is to bring you back maybe like Christmas time and birthdays, and you get to look at that, and it's almost like a present that keeps giving to you? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think because they showed mock-ups of what they would look like in the package, I really like just the way that they're posed and organized in the package, and just to have them kind of beside each other, like you did, like you said, like walking into the room and seeing 500 figures. Now, I don't think this line could get to 500 figures. I mean, there's enough Disney characters, but just to have it organized in the package is kind of cool like that. But I also want to play with it. And while I'm not a huge Mickey Mouse fan, I really love Robin Hood. Every character in Robin Hood would be a great action figure. I mean, it's an action adventure story to begin with, but Prince John is one of those awesome, iconic villains that I just can't wait to play with. He comes with alternate heads or faces, and he comes with a sidekick and accessories. It's just a really awesome take, and of course, designed by the Horseman. You know, Four Horsemen Toy
Wow.
Design did
Yeah.
them as well. So it was like, yep, check, check, check. Like it just hit all the boxes for me to pull the trigger and at least do 2 of one figure. And if, you know, a wave in the future has like 3 figures that I love, then yeah, I'll find a way to make it work. And I'll return pre-orders that I have for 6 months from now that I don't want and justify, well, I'm saving $300 on those things that I don't want anymore. And so I'll put it in this, and then like 2 weeks will go by, and I'll feel sad at night and feel lonely, and I'll just have to pre-order those ones again.
Well, that's what's great about Big Bad is that
Yeah.
there's, God bless them, there's no repercussions. You know, if you
Yeah.
pre-order 20 things, you cancel them. They're like, okay, cheers, man. And when
Yeah,
you
and
pre-order,
even
you don't
even
have
when
to
you
put a deposit down. Yeah.
yeah, and even when you pre-order them and they arrive and they're in your pile of loop, you could still cancel them. You just get Big Bad credit for what
Right.
it cost you. So now I'm sitting there with some credit in my Big Bad account. Feels like I can go on a shopping spree. It's like, oh well, I've got credit for this. So check, 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 check out,
Big
boom,
Bad credit.
done. So yeah.
You share some of that Big Bad credit there.
But how
Good
valuable
boy.
is space to you? Because you know we have remarked that your room is getting a little tight to film in
The
comfortably.
studio is getting a little tight.
The bedroom.
It's funny. I'm looking when I do my desk shots. Right where I'm sitting is where the couch was.
Yeah.
Remember the couch we
Yeah.
would before we went
The
away?
funny
Yeah.
thing is,
Anyway.
I remember like every single layout that you've ever had in that room. So right now, where you're facing is where you had that long kind of white beigeish dresser where your TV was on the end and Mario was on top of the TV kicking the
Yep.
Koopa Troopa, and that's where your Atari was, and that's when we first played Spider-Man on Atari. That was right there, and the wrestlers
Yeah,
were to the left of it.
the TV was right there. Yeah. Yeah, it's insane.
So,
Memory
yeah.
lane, man. I'm telling you.
Memorable.
Yeah.
But how valuable is space?
Yeah. It's very valuable, and you see a lot of collectors with the 4-tier glass shelves from IKEA, you know, those long skinny ones, and I have 3 of them. Now what I've figured out doing, and I saw this actually when we were at Treehouse the first time, is getting those spice rack steps, right? So my Joes, now everything isn't flat, so I'm creating more space with these spice rack steps, and a lot of collectors do this, and it's awesome. But running out of space is definitely an issue. Some pieces that are on display, unfortunately, sometimes have to get rotated out, right? And it's tough. And I thank goodness, you know, I have a fair size house and the basement is good for storage, but yeah, you got to pick and choose, right?
Yeah, you know, we're gonna reference this gentleman later on as well in the show, but Brom Wiseman, who's the owner of Heroes locally, our headquarters, our base in the base. He always says, you know, it's important to prune the collection. You know, it's got to be like a well facilitated garden. You know, it can't just be overrun with all these different fruits and vegetables if it doesn't make sense. You want to have those quality, almost like country fair like pieces. You got to win the blue ribbon every now and then, and you got to make room for that pumpkin to grow. I'm really adding the whole garden analogy. He didn't say that, but it makes sense. You want to have something nice to display and not just sprawling and oddballs. And we all make, you know, guilty purchases. Blade, and you know, it just doesn't always make sense, so it's okay to sell some stuff back and use that money to reinvest. And because we only have so much space, we're almost always forced to do that. And like Carson, our good friend, you know, talked to us about collecting. How much can you really enjoy of your collection if it's in boxes or in storage or in bins that you don't see?
Well, I mean, that goes back to Nintendo Quest when we were talking about, I can't remember if it's in the film or not, or if it was a segment we shot that didn't make it, but or if it was in the car talking. But
I'll
we
let you
talked
know
about,
because I'm the keeper of footage.
that's right, you are. Okay, so we talked about, I don't want to call out anybody, but one collection we saw was basically in like a vault. It was in a safe. You remember this?
Yep.
And as cool as that was, we were both like, there's no way I would do that. Like, I want to be able to see this stuff. So going back to what you said about Carson, yeah, it's like, I don't want to have all these Star Wars figures in packages if I'm just going to put them in a bin and put them away. Like, what's the point? To have that security to know that, yeah, I got Endor Han from 2005. Like, I don't care. I want to be able to see them every day. It's like art on the wall, you know?
And do you think a collection I know your answer already, but I want everybody that's listening and watching to think about this. Do you think a collection should be designated to one area or room in the house? You know, it's like, well, this is like my collection, and you like open the door and like, here's the collection, or this is my room and this is where it is, or in your case, here's my studio, here's where I keep all my stuff and do all my movie making. You know,
Yeah,
like,
well, I've always loved theme rooms, and up until recently,
I love it.
I mean,
love
now
it.
I have a. It's really just now it's a theme house, to be honest. The bulk of the collection is in the room, but there's stuff definitely everywhere. You know, my Legacy Falcon is on my coffee table in the living room. You literally can't put a beverage on the table because it's now the docking bay for the Falcon. There's so big. But yeah, there's Star Wars stuff everywhere. There's Joe stuff everywhere. It spills out, right? I don't mind so much, as long as it's like Brahm said, you know, nice, neat, organized, taken care of. It's not just thrown on a shelf, you know. I don't like random things together. So I know you can't see in the studio here, but every shelf, you know, there's He-Man, then there's Thundercats, and there's
Themes,
Turtles. It's all themes,
themes,
ideas, themes.
concepts, groups.
Yeah. So I'm kind of trailing off, but as long as it's kind of all together and it makes sense, then yeah.
I've been running a psychological test in my house for the last little while. Now we've moved, but this started before we moved. In my bathroom, and I kind of had my own kind of bathroom space in the old place, and now I'm sharing the bathroom vanity with my wife because it's a dual vanity. We each have sinks on each side, and my stuff is, you know, razors, blah blah blah, on that side, and her stuff, you know, yada yada. But in the corner of the bathroom, I have a Snake Eyes version 4 figure just sitting there. I didn't say anything about this. I just put it there one day just to see if I would get the, what are your toys doing outside of, you know, your office or your room? You know,
Okay.
I just kind of put it
Yes.
there as an introduction to see what would happen if I did that. Now, phase 2 of this plan is to introduce toys in another part of the house and just kind of put it on display. Now, I should say my wife is like super cool. She allowed me to do all the decorating in the entire house, to put up whatever on the walls wherever I wanted. I've
Yeah,
had
that's great.
zero
Yeah.
resistance about that. So our upstairs hallway has all
Yeah.
the Mondo Phantom City Creative Batman animated series prints. You know, our bedroom has nothing but like Henson and Muppet stuff in it. I'm working on the downstairs kind of bathroom foyer area being like all Masters animation cells and whatnot. So she's really cool about that stuff. But I get the feeling she goes in the bathroom and looks around and has like the song that plays in her head, like, one of these things is not like the others. Something here
Is that the
just
Pretender by Foo
doesn't
Fighters?
belong. Yeah. Yeah, they stole it from Sesame Street. Dave's
Oh,
time on
okay,
Sesame
okay.
Street influenced the Pretender.
I think while that Snake Eyes maybe like creepily staring at her might shock her a bit if she's not prepared for it. But I think if you had a little bit more of that, maybe you should put a Cobra Commander beside him. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe he needs a
I'm
buddy
worried
there.
that too much too fast is like, okay, why do we have toys in the bathroom? It's a clunky, you know, it's the vanity's already cluttered. I don't want to see this stuff, let alone look at Snake Eyes or Cobra Commander. You know, like I can just
I
see it.
feel, yeah,
I feel it
I feel
spiraling
very
quickly.
fortunate that in my life, every partner that I've had has never had an issue with any of this stuff.
Not that they've had a choice.
Well, that's
Well,
right, but I mean, you come into my life, you know what you're getting, right? It's like you.
I
It's like
think this
no, it's like
reminds me of the opening of Nintendo Quest. I don't think it made the cut. I think this is a deleted scene where we do your house
oh well,
tour.
sorry, I forgot. Like
And we tour your house and your video games and your toys and stuff are up, and you're pointing out your, you know, your Foo Fighters shrine and all that. And I said, what do the ladies think of the place? And you get all bashful and shy. You're like, oh well, you know, they don't seem to care. They don't seem to mind. I'm like, oh, so they don't have any objections to this stuff? No, thankfully not really.
I did go on a couple dates with someone, and I will not say her name for the sake of protection. I went on a few dates with her, never met her. It was like a blind date thing. And she came into my house. This was the Nintendo Quest house. So you know which one I mean.
Yeah.
And I remember she was looking at all the stuff. She was looking around at everything, and she's just like, "Wow, this is all really cool." She's like, "All this stuff will be really cool in your man cave." I'm like,
Oh my
I live on my.
God.
I'm like, I live on my own. What do you mean? She's like, well, when we get our place. I was like, whoops, see ya. That was like second date, I think.
Oh
I
my
was like,
goodness. The
no,
balls
I'm
on
good.
her to just suggest that she could make a
Yeah,
sweeping change to how you like to
yeah.
live. I mean, I get it. I get where she's coming from. A shared space is a shared space. You know, you should.
Second date? Second date?
Yeah, that's it's a
No,
little
no, no.
presumptuous there, lady.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. Of course, I'm respectful. It's not just my way or the highway with stuff, but yeah, people I'm involved with, they definitely know what they're getting. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, why would you hold back, right? So, yeah, you're, I think, one of the lucky few people I know from people I know in the collector community, the toy community, that has more than one space where toys can be comfortably displayed and put out there. So I think that's cool. But like I said, even you are going to run out of space at a certain point. What happens then?
I would really hate to say that I would sell stuff because it really, honest to God, is such a part of me.
You can't
And I,
have everything, and you can't have a
no,
spot for everything either.
no,
Even if you
no.
store it and put it in bins, your basement would be packed floor to ceiling with bins eventually because new stuff
Yeah,
keeps coming out.
yeah. And you don't want that. I'm a little more picky. I don't want to say very because I just posted the other day about a Sabine Wren figure that I couldn't say no to. But I'm just contradicting myself by saying I'm more choosy and picky now. But clearly that's not the case. Okay, let me rephrase. I don't feel the need to get an entire like wave. So a new wave of Star Wars will come out. I don't feel obligated to get all of them anymore. Um, are you that way with your stuff? I mean, I guess it depends on the series, right? Like the new Joe stuff, I definitely want all the figures, but I don't need all the weird variants.
Yeah, I know what you're
I don't
saying.
know.
I mean, I was when classics came out through Matty Collector, I subscribed, I think, to the first 2 or 3 years, and then I went straight to pick and choose. Part of it was
Yeah,
finances, part of it was already starting to get obscure after about 40 characters, which is okay
right.
if you want those characters, but when you're really looking for the main characters first, then it was like, okay, I'll just wait. And I remember cherry picking like Randor and Scareglow and Bo from like that third or fourth year, instead of just getting all the 12. Even now with the TMNT Ultimates that I wasn't gonna get, but now I'm getting, I've got most of them kind of set aside, but I haven't got them all. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Mondo Gecko. I get that people like him, and he's a kind of weird looking character, which is appealing in its own right. Same with Mutagen Man, but I'm good. I don't need them. I really think Muckman's cool, and he looks like a giant character. But I'll get Bebop and Rocksteady because core character, Shredder, sure, the Four Turtles, Splinter, Baxter. But I probably, unless it's like a really strange character that is like that weird B character appeal thing, I probably won't get them all. Trying to think what else is out there that I'm the cartoon turtles. I'm pretty much done with those. I don't even want Trag and Granitor as far as the 2 packs. I just want to get Baxter and Splinter 2 pack, and I think Rat King and Vernon 2 pack, and then I think I'm done, depending on what they do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
unfortunately,
I'm
I just
with
won't be collecting anymore, Jay. I've got 3 more figures I got to get, and then I'm done. I'm out of this.
you're done for
I'm
good.
done.
You
I'm
gotta get
done.
the blank
I'm
and
gonna,
then that's it.
yeah, I'm gonna get my 3,000 figures of the blank. I'm just channeling all my money to buy the blank. Just like that guy who
Blank.
bought thousands of copies of Jurassic Park for SNES. I don't know if you remember that. Like,
Yeah,
he filled
yeah.
like a whole fridge of them. That's what I'm going to do with the blank, except for I'm going to put them in a freezer and then drive over it with my car until I only have one card left, or one figure left on card, and then I'll have the only one.
We talked about this a couple of episodes ago about why people collect multiples of the same character that aren't soldiers.
Yeah,
And I think my first encounter was actually I was watching Dan Larson on Toy Galaxy, and he's a huge Boba Fett. Like Boba Fett's his thing, right? So
sure.
he collects the Kenner Boba Fett, and he has I think over 500 now or something. But Since we chatted last time about that, I've been trying to think if I was to collect one figure that way to have hundreds of one figure, what would it be? I couldn't come up with an answer. What about you? If you had to army build one single character that's unique to the series, he's not a soldier, who would it be? And what would you do with them all?
I already know what I would do, and I have a movie wrapped around it, so I'm gonna have to decline from answering.
Sure.
Because I don't want to give my movie away, but I certainly know who it would be, and I certainly know what I would do with them. I wouldn't keep them, I'll tell you that, but I would want to get thousands of this character,
Right.
and then use that character to represent like it would be a symbol of what that character is to do something
Right.
greater in the name of kind of what that character does.
Yeah, I gotcha. I would have to say
So
for
Aquaman,
myself,
and I would want to save the fish. Okay, there I go. I said it.
it's funny. I got my favorite character of all time is Luke Skywalker, specifically from Return of the Jedi. And up until this year, a few weeks ago, they released an absolute perfect, and I'm not even lying to you, a perfect version of this figure in the 3.75-inch line. And wouldn't you know it, I can't get one that's right. Are you ready for this story? Okay. I ordered it off Amazon.ca because I can't find this figure. It came, the bubble was absolutely crushed.
I was like, of course it was crushed, because I remember you showing me like, look what I got off Amazon. It was like it's like Walmart shipping stories.
Yeah, it's horrible. He's crushed. The figure's fine, but I obviously want him on the card back. So they sent the replacement. I can't even make this stuff up. The package is absolutely perfect. The figure is looking to the right. The eyes are off center, painted off center, so you can see where the eyeball is, like the flesh color.
Yeah,
and then you can see that the paintbrush was just a little bit too much to the right, so he looks like he's looking.
No. That's the variant, Jay. That's the Amazon cut eye Luke Skywalker.
That's the horrible luck Bartlett version. So I have a third one that should be arriving this week.
But like, what is the deal with Luke Skywalker? Like, the sculpt has never been, on point for Luke.
Yeah,
they've had spelling mistakes on the character's name. And there's certainly enough iterations of Luke that they could have made it better, from New Hope to like X-Wing pilot. I say New Hope, I mean like farm boy, white kind of tunic, the X-Wing pilot, Hoth, Stormtrooper, Jedi, Dagobah, Clouds. Is it like Dagobah Luke, where he's just got like the muscle tee kind of deal, and then Cloud City? Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a vintage line version. The most expensive Luke is Luke Skywalker from Dagobah Landing. How specific is this? Yeah. So it's when he gets out of the X-Wing, jumps into the water, and crawls out. There's a version of that very 10-second part. His hair is all wet and he's wet and stuff. I think there's been some really great Luke figures, but up until the last few years, they've never been able to get the likeness right. I almost want to say that the old Kenner one is probably the best up until I saw this one. I like the Black Series one as well, but when I saw this one was coming out of this wave, which is weird because this year in 2020 we're getting a lot of Return of the Jedi stuff, and that's 3 years away from the 40th on that one. But I just can't believe. Can you believe my luck? Everyone out there, can you believe my luck? Please, I just want a good Jedi Luke. Please help me.
Jedi Luke would be the one that you'd get like 100 of, or continually buy?
This figure, yes, this particular figure. But let's just start at one. I would say Scott Bernard from the Matchbox Robotech, but forget that. I think there's only 3 of them out there. Or maybe Storm Shadow version 2. Yeah,
Matt Tracker?
Maybe him. No, not Matt Tracker.
Cobra Commander?
No. I don't think so. I'm not really huge on the vintage Cobra Commanders. There's something about them that aren't quite right to me. His head's always been gigantic, especially on the chrome mask one.
Turtles is hard to do because you kind of need to have 4 of them. It's really hard to love one turtle and resist buying the other ones. So that's hard. I mean, you could do He-Man or Skeletor, I think, pretty well. But then it's like, oh my God, trying to do it with like vintage He-Man, it would be so expensive now.
That's expensive.
And then like even like one battle armor.
I saw one guy online the other day. He had Momo Nadon's which is Hammerhead, the vintage Kenner ones, and he just had those glass cabinets, 2 of them full. So it was just brown and blue everywhere.
Wow.
It looked so damn cool. And yeah, it's like for a character like that really doesn't do anything, the camera pans across him on the cantina. That's it. It's like, where does that fascination come from to that character? It's like aesthetically, you love it so much that you just want multiples and multiples of it. I find that fascinating. I really do.
We are like really running over time here.
Sure.
But we're gonna go to the next topic and see what happens. Is that good with you? You think we should do the next topic, or should we wrap it up with our figure spotlight?
Hey, you know what? That's up to you. The great thing about podcasts, there's no limit. If your schedule allows it, let's do it. If not, we can do it another day.
Well, I want to think of our audience here. We don't want them, stuck into a 3-hour discussion.
Oh, come on. Joe Rogan has people on for like 4 hours.
Yeah, you're
Are
right.
you saying we're not as interesting as Joe Rogan? Come on.
I forgot. You're the Joe Rogan of toy collecting. I apologize. What difference does it make? What does it?
There we go. Okay.
What difference does it make? What does it matter? We're gonna do it.
Oh, how psyched would you be for Bill Burr's character from Mandalorian? I can't remember his character's name. How psyched would you be for that figure?
Okay, you want to talk about collecting in value of space? Like, okay, I've got a little bit more space, but I don't have a lot of budget, and I've taken the plunge now into collecting Star Wars. I've backed the Razor Crest. Okay, I'm really excited about this. And, it's almost kind of like a one and done set because you get Mando, you get Baby Yoda, you get the off-world Jawa on card, and you got kind of nice. So the only other characters you might want to get is like Cara Dune because you've seen her in there. Now I've got to get Frog Lady and her frogs if it goes in there so I can recreate all those scenes. And like every episode, it's like, well, now I got to get that. Now I got to get that. And I'm just doing Mandalorian though. But then I'm thinking already, it's like, okay, if I just did Mandalorian Star Wars collecting, okay.
Yeah.
One has to remember that there is more runtime in the Mandalorian series already than all the other films combined.
Yeah.
Rebels, not including Rebels Resistance, which is the new animated one, I think, or Clone Wars. But live action stuff, there's more in Mandalorian than I think the other movies combined already.
So merchandising wise, if this was in the 2000s and George was still in charge, I would be in absolute heaven because we would get Frog Lady with the eggs. We would get the other 2 Mandos that were with Bo-Katan. We would get all those obscure characters. And I know we're getting like Moff Gideon and Grief Karga. And those are main characters though, right? I'm talking about the Frog Lady. Like that would be cool, man.
And her husband would be like the Chase variant mail away guy or Comic-Con exclusive.
Right, exactly. I'm really surprised that Disney of all people is not just pumping this stuff out, man, but instead we keep getting the same characters. I'm not going to go on that tangent again. They're getting a bit better, but
again, cater to the collectors, create the Star Wars Collector Club, let people sign up, give them a figure a month, make your cut, and then just keep giving us the figures. Just give them to us instead of this hassle that we got.
That would be great. One Black Series a month mailed to you. I mean, again, and I wasn't collecting Joe in 2008 when they had the same with Club Joe, right? They had the same mail away stuff. Like I missed all that because I was so heavy into Star Wars, but that's such a cool idea. I think every series should do that. It would be awesome if you have enough characters.
Yeah, I mean, almost any show could have it, right? I mean, even if you looked at like the first 10 episodes of Joe, there are tons of characters there in the background that you could draw upon. Even if you just looked at like New Hope, right? There's just tons in the, I mean, here's what you do for all you toy manufacturers out there. Get a license that has a bar scene, and then you're set for at least 50 characters. All you need is that bar scene or that final fight battle scene at the end in Act 3. You've got tons of characters forever.
Absolutely.
You'll get your core 3, 4 to 6 characters that move the story along on separate plot arcs. You'll get a couple of those characters that come around for 1 or 2 scenes that are like super memorable. And then you're going to have your other ones that are just background. And that's all you kind of need. And that's your, your 20, 30, 40, 50 characters for that niche line.
They're listening. Hasbro's obviously listening and watching this.
So well, I didn't want to say anything, but I send them the show link to a secret email. It was them. It was Hasbro and HasLab that said, you know what, guys, we really want you to do your show. because we'd been on the fence. Do we do a podcast? Do we not do a podcast? How long can we do the podcast for? I don't know. The series is coming out. I kind of like my toys. I'm a bit of a shelfer. I just kind of want to keep shelving, you know?
Well, and it was
Okay,
you and I talk every day about this stuff, and I kept bugging you. I'm like, why don't you just
Oh
hit record while
God.
we're talking? You know, just hit record and put it
Because I
up.
just want to be friends, Jay. I don't want to save it for camera anymore. And here we
I
are on camera. Our friendship exists on camera. And now we're both on TikTok, the mighty TikTok, at Jay
yeah,
Bartlett 75, at Robin Zub. See us on TikTok. Show you everything that you see everywhere else, but on TikTok.
but in 15-second intervals. I haven't done a 1-minute video yet. I'm still messing with the editing software in there, but
Just
I
edit in
kind of
Premiere
wanted.
and then upload it from your phone.
Oh, there you go. I wanted to go back a bit to what you were saying and do a hat tip to Funko and Pops specifically. Now, love them or hate them. I don't collect them anymore, but I did. I just was thinking while you're talking there. One reason I was so into Star Wars Pops specifically because Funko is making all those characters. So for Mandalorian, we literally had everything. So they had Quill, you know, Nick Nolte's character and stuff like that. We're getting him now in the Black Series, but Funko was doing all that stuff, man. So I was like, oh, there's that weird Mandalorian character. There's that obscure whatever. Um, yeah, I just wanted to say good stuff, Funko, but Disney really needs to step it up, man. And stop making the same damn characters every
Yeah.
year.
Okay, I gotta tell you, it's a weird collecting confession, and people are gonna be like, what are you talking about? Why didn't you figure this out earlier? What like
Collecting confessions.
yeah, there you go. That's our new show, 6 episodes, collecting confessions. We're just gonna call it LFG, looking for group. I didn't get what was so cool about the Black Series. Like, why do we need 6-inch Star Wars characters? It's like we
Right.
got the 3 3/4. It's always been 3 3/4. You know, whether you like one version or another, and that was fine. But of course, over the years, everybody's been like, give me a 6-inch GI Joe, especially when Masters came out at the 6-inch scale with classics. Everybody's like, give me a 6-inch Joe, and it never happened because it never had really a series to build into it. There's always been Star Wars, and people were like, give us 6-inch Star Wars forever, and I was just like, it didn't really do anything to me until I started looking at stuff, thinking, oh, that's actually kind of a cool character. I kind of want to hold like a Darth Vader that's 6 inches and like a Chewie that would
Yeah.
be really cool and stuff. But then recently I've kind of like backpedaled a bit. I was starting to like, I have a couple Black Series figures because they're like on sale and they're like $6 or something. Like I think I got Lando and Ray from Last Jedi. But
Right.
I backpedaled a bit because there's this weird line that's starting to get blurred in Black Series. And that's where they go. They have a bunch of these movie characters that are live action, but now they're bringing in characters from the animated series. And so there's Sabine Wren there that you mentioned earlier. So it's like it's not a cartoon version of the character, but it's not quite live action character. So for me, it doesn't feel like it fits, but it works, but it's not 100%. It's like, yeah, this needs to be a
Yeah.
Black Series character, but no, it should just be a 6-inch Rebels character instead. You know what I mean? It's a weird
Yeah.
thing. And there was the other Rebels character, I'm going to call him the Chewie stand-in. I think his name is Zep or Zach or
Zeb.
Zeb.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was like that was like, okay, that's really cartoony to me. Or like his character on Rebels is like obviously CG, so like it's colorful and like the way it's rendered. But then I saw that and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, so funny about that. I got my hands on all of those a couple of weeks ago. I just looked at them, and I don't know, man. So you can see Sabine here, and which way? There we go. So with the Black Series,
can't see her. Oh, that side. Okay, yeah.
with the Black Series, it's the art I'm talking about. They have the portrait on the side now with the new style, and they've tried to make her look more realistic. Um, I don't know. I don't know if I want a cartoon version like the way she looks on the show. They're just trying to unify everything with the art style.
It's
But
it's
I
got to
get
be
what
a
you mean.
big question though. Like, what do we do
Yeah.
with this? We know that there's demand for this, and here's the big character I'm going to point to where I think they're really going to have a trip up, and it's a character that was just released that people were like, oh, finally, there's a character of her. Finally, I can get her on Black Series, and this is Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah.
Ahsoka has been like one of those cult fan favorites for a while now. From Clone Wars. She's in Rebels. I haven't watched it, but I heard she's a really big part of it. But here's the catch. Here's the rub. We know she's going to be in Mandalorian.
Yes.
So the figure's already come out. Are we going to get a second version of Ahsoka that's going to have the likeness rights of what she looks like in Mandalorian? And now we're going to have 2 Ahsoka figures. That
you absolutely are, because it's Rosario Dawson playing her, right? And so she looks completely different than Ahsoka does in the cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, there will be, yeah. And I think you're gonna see Ahsoka blow up. Like you said, she's always been like had that cult status, but now she's gonna be like,
I feel like knowing that she was gonna be a live action character, and they would have known for a while, that they should have just held off and just done the one instead of this non-cartoon, not quite human, not quite cartoon, weird version.
They can't do that because the reveal, right?
No, I just think they should have held off. Like, they shouldn't have announced it or shown it or anything until the series was over, like the season.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying there, but there's been, like, even in the vintage line in 2012, we got an Ahsoka, which was actually, it's the most valuable vintage figure that there is, and the card back, so it's the vintage Kenner style, but it's an actual painting of Ahsoka as she would look in real life, and it's very strange. It's kind of like that, yeah. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I passed on Kanan, who's Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character, because he looked real, but it was just weird. That's one reason I didn't get a lot of the Rebels.
It's like the uncanny valley, right? When you try to push an artificial animated character to the point of photorealism so much that the closer you get, the more you actually distance yourself from it looking real, because you can't quite nail it.
It's like when you have a CG character in a movie, like when they CG Tarkin, like, it just pulls you right out. It's like,
exactly.
Okay, I know that's Peter Cushing's likeness, but it's not real.
Yeah, your brain figures it out instantly that that's not real. You see it right away, and they're getting close with stuff. Like, they can get creatures down pretty good, and Last Jedi with Yoda being kind of a spirit, they could hide a lot of stuff there. But there's still something that tells me I can tell that this was added after the fact and not like an actual puppet like beside Luke all the time. And that was like, it's still not there. I can still call bullshit on all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was a really weird choice to see them blend like some sort of hybrid like representation of the characters. And that's distanced me a bit from that stuff. The hipster niche collector wants to go, oh, I like those. I'm just going to get those ones because I can compartmentalize like I am with, I'm just going to get Mandalorian stuff, which is a deadly trap because you never say you're going to get just one thing in Star Wars. Because they have to get everything.
Well, you've always said you're intimidated with Star Wars, and
it's so vast. I mean, and I'm not a diehard. I love Star Wars, like most collectors love, but I'm not like I'm not eating droid cereal or three C3POs, I guess they were called. I don't.
As you're sporting a Rancho Obi-Wan T-shirt, which is hilarious.
You don't look over here.
I'm not a diehard at all. I just went to Rancho Obi-Wan.
Okay, well that was for the series. What can I say?
Oh yeah. Hilarious, man. That's hilarious. That's the opening right there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm finding easier ways to dip into it. Talk about like an easy way to dip into it with the HasLab Razor Crest. Oh, I'll just get this and then I'll be done. Sure you will, $400
ship.
Sure you will, buddy. So I'm not going to go into the second topic because we discovered something really fun there. But let's go to figure spotlight. Is Sabine Wren your figure spotlight, or are you getting something else?
No, I have someone different off the shelf. I guess I'll go.
Okay.
Again, my love for these niche characters and those characters that kind of just appear in one or two episodes. When I show you this character, I'm pretty sure in Masters of the Universe there was a character like him. So
okay.
You can guide me that way. This character is from Thundercats. So this is Safari Joe.
That's kind of like Craven.
Exactly. Safari Joe was a sport hunter. Okay. And of course, he went to Third Earth and sport hunted the Thundercats. And he's a deadly warrior. And he's one of the most expensive Thundercats in the line. I just wanted to show him off. But I know there's an episode of the original Masters where there's a hunter or a collector guy, right?
Yeah, there's always that there's always those collectors episodes, right, where they try to collect the champions from each planet and then they put them in the games together. I want to say it's like Pawns of the
Yeah.
Game Master or something is the name of the
Yeah,
episode.
yeah. Yeah, you're right. Each show kind of has that.
Yeah, DC
Um,
did a lot, Marvel did it a lot, so it only makes sense that Masters did it. That's a cool character.
to call back a little bit, from an episode that we did a couple weeks ago. So this gun itself is a couple hundred in its own. So this would be a case where I got it complete. I wouldn't piece it together because you're gonna go and you might as well just get the whole thing, right? But
Right.
Safari Joe, Thundercats, LJN.
Awesome.
There you go.
So can I ask you what you paid for that, or is that top secret knowledge?
Safari Joe, I got him for
200 Canadian?
Yeah, 200 Canadian. He's worth about 4. The guy I met online really, he was a really good dude, and he just wanted to help me out. And that was the only Thundercat he had, and that was really the only one I was looking for. So it was meant to be.
Oh, that's awesome. I've got 3 figures here. They're all related to Masters of the Universe. One of my good friends online, Josh Van Pelt, he's part of Power and Honor Foundation, which does a lot of archivist type stuff for Masters. He has all these claim sales all the time.
Yeah.
Like we're talking like hundreds of items, rare, common, everything in between, test shots, prototypes, artwork, store displays, like everything you can think of. Probably because he's really connected with the Power and Honor Foundation, which preserves everything He-Man and She-Ra. He's got, so he does a lot of like selling stuff, and I know he was looking to buy some stuff, and this was part of his personal collection and flip them. So I got 3 things from him in the mail the other day. I've got, I'm only going to pick one to show because it's just figure spotlight, not figure or mail call or anything like that. So Jay, I just want you to pick a number, 1, 2, or 3, and that's what I'll showcase for this.
I'm an odd number guy. I got to go 3.
3. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a Super 7 release. I didn't get a chance to get the character originally when Maddie Collector released her. But then Super 7 did a line of Ultimate figures for Masters. It was early on when they first started the Ultimate moniker. And this was a character I wanted for Classics, but the Classics one didn't have everything I want. There were several iterations of the Classics figure, but the Ultimates packaged it all together in one nice package. And when I saw this go up as part of the claim sale, I'm like, yep, done 100%. So this is Ultimate Tila. So I'm going to take her out of the box to show you. You can kind of see everything she's got. And they also had Ultimates for He-Man and Skeletor, Ram-Man, and Faker. Those were all that they had.
Okay, I'm not going to say anything until I see it. I'm wondering if it's the one I'm thinking it is.
So as you can see, it comes on more of a classic vintage style card back, but it's the Classics figure.
Wow.
With the alternate heads. So you got like Battleground Tila here with the wavy hair, and the alternate in 2000X, and of course the snake headdress, and the staff is there as well, and the sword. But I never got the Classics, and every time I wanted to pull the trigger on one online, it's just like, it didn't have, the other accessories. So when I saw this, it was like, yeah, this is awesome. And then you can see like on the back here, just like the original vintage, you can see like Faker and Ram-Man, which are the other ones on my list to get at some point, but she is really awesome. And we talk about packaging. Classics, I like this packaging better than the Classics. They're not that much different, but I prefer to have, a vintage style packaging for these things. And they didn't make a lot of these, and it was a very short kind of time that these were available.
I've never even seen that, so that's not the one I was thinking of.
Were you thinking of Club Grayskull?
I was thinking about the green Tila Classics.
Oh, the Goddess. The Goddess.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. That's what I thought it was. That one is awesome, man. And I've always loved the Masters Universe art for the vintage. So that's going to be tough. Are you going to open that, man?
No, I'm going to keep this one sealed, knowing that I've got this the way I want it with all the accessories packed in there. Now I'm hoping just to find a loose Classics Tila that I can pair, with Man at Arms and Adam.
See, to go back real quick to the rule of 2 for everyone who's listening, you'll see a lot of contradictions here with what we're saying because it's so difficult. Like every figure has to be judged on a case by case basis. There's no like rule set, I guess. It's like.
Well, here's the problem I have for this, and this is the problem I have for a lot of current figures that get released. There is a ton of accessories here. So I have bags like Ziploc bags of like extra hands and like weapons and stuff that I want my figure this way. Well, now I've got like, literally 7 other hands or 8 other hands that I'll never use because this is the way I want it. I'm not going to sit there and interchange it. So like, I get that everybody's going to have a different way they want to do it, but like, it feels like a waste to me. I don't want that excess, management of inventory. I like it all packaged together like this, so I don't even have to worry about what's going to happen with it, or just carry it. Like when I moved, I had like 3 bins of just hands and like shields and swords and stuff like that, which of course are valuable, but when you want your figure displayed a certain way, then they become extraneous.
Yeah, I agree. I have a bunch of clear bins too. A lot of the NECA Turtle stuff, with bags, and this is, Leo Raff's bag or whatever. Yeah. I mean, it's all about changing up the poses too. I don't know if
nope, one and done.
A lot of my guys are just standing at attention, but some of them are in poses. I don't know. It's tough to say, but yeah, I mean, the extra hands, NECA especially, just does an excessive amount of extra hands.
One hand, have all the sloppy hands you can get.
It's like turtles have like 3 sets each, and then you're like, okay, there's pointing, then there's high five, then there's eating a pizza,
and then there's like rock and roll, and
yeah, I get it.
I get it. They can do a lot. They've got fingers.
You guys are great. You got the license. Move on.
But this is funny coming from the guy who bought the second issue turtle cartoon NECAs because they could hold pizza.
My favorite accessory. Whoa. My favorite accessory is the pizza. 100%. I love it. It's even with my turtles right now. I don't have any accessories out except to have the 2 different pizzas out there. Yeah. I love it. So cool.
Well, that's our figure spotlight for the week. Let us know what you guys think. I wanted to add a new thing to the show, kind of piggybacking off of what we did a few episodes ago, and what you just followed up with Safari Joe. What's his name?
Safari Joe.
Joe. I'm going to show an accessory to the camera, and then in the comments, guys, or reach out to us somehow. Yeah, in the comments on YouTube, because you can listen to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Plays, all the podcast platforms. But we also put this up on YouTube so you can see what we're doing, which for everybody just listening, well, you really just missed out on the visual aspect that we just spent time on. I want everybody to try to identify what this piece is. This is a small accessory. And if you get it, you're going to get some Jay and Rob Toy Show special points. They're not redeemable. They're not worth anything. But I will make a list behind the scenes of everybody that gets it right first, not piggybacking off other answers. And maybe you'll go into a draw down the road for something kind of fun. Maybe your name gets carried over to a special random drawing or contest. So this week's accessory is this.
Maybe put it up a little closer there.
So take a look at this.
Move it around, yeah.
So that's the one side, okay. That's the other side. There. Jay, do you know what this is?
Maybe. I'll tell you after the show. I think I have an idea.
Well, I've got to give this to you, Jay, because I promised I would, because I found it in a box that I got.
Okay.
So take a look at it, guys. Again, there it is. It's obviously yellow. It's really small.
Oh, yeah.
Primarily circular. That's that. If you know what this is, be the first to comment on our YouTube show. You can just search Jay and Rob Toy Show on YouTube. Put the comment in there. We'll try to do one of these every week if I have enough accessories. I just said I had millions of hands, so every episode going forward might be whose hand is this? But here you go. So
the answer is always Ninja Turtles.
You got 1 in 4 chance of telling me what turtle it is.
There you go.
So that'll do it for another episode of the Jay and Rob Toy Show. For the love of toys, take care of each other and yourself. What? You don't like that? That was your thing.
Until next time, take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself and each other. Okay. Again, remind people where they can find you online.
Yes, I was going to say, geez. I have a very... No, let me start that again. Guys, you can find me online through any social media just with my name, Jay Bartlett. I have a YouTube channel that focuses specifically on toys, so check it out. Jay Bartlett, not the Exorcist, the toy collector.
And you can find me on Twitter and now TikTok at Rob McZob. So, for the love of toys, take care of yourself and each other.